Welcome to Step 7, Map Out Successful Pathways to the Summit. Hi, my name is Joey Yarber, and I'm your co-host for this empowering training series. We're so grateful that you took time to take your next step in learning how to transform lives and your community. In Step 7, you'll learn how to build capacity for relational synergism. People and organizations are working together for greater purposes realized only through concerted effort. How to pave the way for a transformative roadmap, a more comprehensive approach for transforming people's lives, and understanding the difference between a social service and a social change model for helping others. Let's get started. Here's Mike.
Your key challenge for Step 7 is to use the growth of your care network and your care collaborative as catalysts for systemic change across your community. Your action steps will include discover, develop, and deploy transformative processes that pave the way for measurable and lasting positive results. Your measurable results will be a cross-sector collaborative will emerge and represent many, if not most, of your community sectors. As I mentioned before, developing a better together civic culture is not an event but a capacity building process. In steps 1, 2, and 3, I showed you how important better communication is to simply make helping agencies aware of each other's presence in a community. This sets the stage for increased cooperation, which we explored in steps 4, 5, and 6. And now in steps 7 and 8, I will show you how to increase cross-sector collaboration where lasting solutions can be developed for large-scale social change. Steps 7 and 8 are about cross-sector collaboration, which is a foundational pillar for a new catalytic infrastructure, a framework that supports transformation. This is where helping agencies begin to engage in the synergistic creation of best practices and lasting solutions. Agencies realize that by working together, they can co-create things that they cannot do apart from each other. This is when siloed helping agencies become more interdependent with each other and learn to share the risks, responsibilities, and rewards that are associated with comprehensive, coordinated care. First, let's look at a powerful and practical purpose of collaboration. Dr. Tom Wolfe, renowned expert in collaboration, suggests, collaboration is not just sitting in a room with a variety of people. It is about creating whole new ways for us to interact with each other. When individuals and systems interact effectively, we can maximize our resources and find solutions from seemingly intractable problems. Collaborative processes have the potential for creating revolutionary changes in our communities and in our world. Authentic collaboration is embedded with a transformative catalyst known as synergy, which simply means working together. The synergy needed to co-create and empower transformative processes can be commonly described in different ways. This is when 1 + 1 = 3, or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Synergy can happen when the total effect is greater than the sum of individual actions. I like the way Stephen Covey defines synergy as the most catalytic, the most empowering, the most unifying, and the most exciting part of relationship building and social interactions. Now, every helping agency throughout a community can be part and parcel of innovative and collaborative best practices and the co-creation of lasting solutions. With sincerity, community stakeholders can say, "This is my investment into our collective action. The results can be remarkable." One of the most eye-opening and practical examples of synergy happened in the 19th century. In 1885, the World Series of Mule Team competition was held in Chicago, Illinois. The winning team of mules was able to pull 9,000 pounds. The second-place team pulled slightly less. Someone came up with the idea of hitching both the first and second team to a load to see how much they could pull together. It was assumed that the two teams would pull a little more than the total combined weight. However, instead of pulling only a little more than 18,000 pounds, together the teams pulled 30,000 pounds. A young foreman named Ed Stiles, working the borax deposits in Death Valley, California, took this concept of multiple mule teams and applied it to the arduous task of hauling the loads of borax out of the extreme environment of the California desert. Stiles noticed that a team of 12 mules was hauling loads twice the size that 8 mules could haul. This set him to thinking and experimenting. Stiles discovered that a 20-mule team pulled 10 tons, about half the capacity of a modern railroad freight car. The Pacific Coast Borax Company later used this image of a 20-mule team in marketing their borax as a cleaning agent. The lessons to be learned here is that synergy can produce remarkable and surprising results. Another example of synergy at work is an orchestra. This is where individuals contribute their unique skills and talents to co-create harmonious music. Here everyone is on the same page of sheet music, and they progressively move forward, carefully guided by a conductor. The combined members of an orchestra could represent a community. The individuals, each playing a different instrument, could be envisioned as a helping agency, and the conductor could be envisioned as a commonly shared, transformative process that strives for collective community impact. One of my favorite ways to describe collaboration is relational synergism, where people and organizations are working together for greater purposes, realized only through concerted effort. The practical expression of this can be your CARE collaborative, where knowledge, resources, and relationships can be aligned for common purposes and greater action. This is when helping agencies, by working together, are now able to align their unique strengths and collectively tackle tough community challenges with greater impact and success. You will realize the true power, potential, and possibilities of collaboration by building capacity for your CARE collaborative. This is where people and organizations get to experience the power of connect that drives collective community impact. The ultimate goal of your collaborative is to coordinate or map out a successful journey to comprehensive coordinated care. This transformation roadmap will make it easier for people in need and the agencies that support them to become completely satisfied with the results. The strategic plans and actions of your CARE collaborative will include answering 7 basic questions in a planning process. We strongly encourage you to not minimize this process and do not be tempted to use shortcuts. This could sabotage your long-term results. Important questions that your CARE collaborative should answer include: what do we really want to see happen and why? You will have many complex challenges to address in your community. These can be poverty, hunger, health disparities, and more, all of which demand and deserve immediate attention. But the truth is that all of these challenges may seem quite overwhelming to a small group of community stakeholders with a limited amount of resources. Therefore, we encourage you to start finding out what stakeholders really care about the most, and then prioritize your plans and actions. We have discovered that caring power is the secret sauce for getting people motivated and engaged. What's in this for me and us? Whether this is said out loud or not, most people want to know if this is something worthwhile for them and merits their personal participation. Community stakeholders who have great passion for helping others and a strong bias for action must quickly discover that other stakeholders, like themselves, are involved in this collective action. They find no satisfaction in sitting around in a room, constantly talking and stressing about problems. They want to discover innovative solutions that will make a real and lasting difference. Where are we at now? This is a realistic evaluation of current practices that should reveal three important realities: what needs to be preserved, changed, or created. This can focus on best practices and policies that have been used in your community for many years. Maybe it's time to evaluate their effectiveness. What exactly are we going to do? This will reveal the practical steps you will take to reach your commonly shared goals and objectives. Strive for consensus and commitment for reaching these goals. Who will take responsibility for certain activities? This is where a high-performance team comes into play. Each person will simply identify what is my part in our job. This will involve lots of coordinating needed actions by certain people for reaching strategic goals. How long will it take? Well, if you're striving to reach the summit of comprehensive coordinated care, this will probably take many months, perhaps years. But there are some transformative processes that can be put into place within 90 days or a few months. How will we know that we have achieved our goals? This will be obvious if you reach the milestones that we have recommended. The results will speak for themselves. I believe this illustration paints an exciting big picture of new potentials and possibilities for transforming lives and communities. New and exciting breakthroughs in networking technology, collaboration, and systemic change now make it possible for transforming the lives of children, adults, and families. Consider the following phrase: give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Most current practices of human development are good at helping people get by. But we are learning that this is only half the solution for breaking the poverty cycle in people's lives. The other half requires that people are well equipped with tools and resources, and they have fair access to jobs paying a living wage. The path to thriving must cross the threshold into community development, where people can get ahead to a healthier, more productive, and meaningful life. Bridging this gap between human and community development could be a lasting solution for situational and generational poverty. We are excited that helping agencies across the country are learning how to partner together in developing a more comprehensive approach to transforming people's lives. As each agency does its part in contributing to comprehensive coordinated care, individuals and families can map out a successful journey from crisis to sustainability to abundant living. This begins with crisis care, where diverse agencies work together to provide food, shelter, and safety for emergency situations. Next steps involved a vast amount of knowledge and support provided by different agencies who offer education, counseling, and unique programs and services. After that, collaborative empowerment, where diverse agencies collectively provide people with important services, such as childcare, transportation options, and specialized job skills. As people progressively continue their journey, they will eventually experience transformative change as they connect with organizations and companies that provide good jobs, employee benefits, and financial stability. And in time, people will cross the threshold into abundant living where hopes are finally realized, such as home ownership and a savings account. And this is a time when people who are grateful for their transformative journey are willing to give back to their community through donations and volunteerism, thereby helping those who help them. Charleston, South Carolina is a good example of a community engaging in comprehensive, coordinated care. Their care network, which uses our networking technology, has brought together over 300 organizations and 900-plus caregivers. Working together, they have co-created a transformation roadmap for individuals and families. Individual helping agencies are using their unique strengths to invest into a collective collaborative that streamlines coordinated care. We were also impressed with the transformation journey that was developed in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The United Way of the Piedmont launched the Financial Stability Initiative in April of 2016 to better address poverty in their three-county footprint in a collaborative and innovative way. The initiative is led by the Financial Stability Task Force, made up of 25 leaders from all sectors of the community. Their mission was to move 2,000 families onto the path to self-sufficiency in 2,000 days. Hannah has since reached her goal and is now working to set more. I get excited when I show this slide because I believe it is a clear evidence that communities are engaging in systemic change. Using our community impact solutions, along with other capacity-building tools, agencies are transforming their helping systems from a social service to a social change model, something that agencies and their funders are very excited about. New breakthroughs in networking technology, collaboration, and systemic change now make transformation possible. In the next couple of slides, I want to show you the difference between a social service and a social change model, and how they impact people's lives. May I suggest that the biggest overall difference is that a social service model, for the most part, provides much-needed services. However, it falls short of providing lasting solutions for transforming people's lives. We have discovered that helping agencies, regardless of resources, strive to do their part in making a difference in people's lives. Unfortunately, most helping agencies struggle to maintain a constant flow of resources that sustain and advance their mission. Due to a lack of resources, most agencies are limited as to the services they provide and the number of people they can serve. Also, many are not equipped to fully address people's constantly changing and increasingly complex needs. These limitations force most helping agencies to adopt a single-focused approach to addressing complex community challenges like poverty, hunger, and health disparities. Some agencies will specialize in emergency relief, such as food, clothing, and shelter. Others will specialize in medical services, education, or training. But the reality is that no one or two helping agencies in a community can be all things for all people. Unfortunately, this single-focused approach can fragment a community's helping system, resulting in little or no communication between different agencies, causing siloed service gaps. As one service provider said to me, "Unfortunately, in our community, the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing." This sets the stage for a tremendous amount of wasteful duplication of services and efforts where agencies are unaware of others who are providing the same services, and perhaps more efficiently and effectively. All of this can limit a community's hope of creating a highly effective referral system that can streamline people's comprehensive access to knowledge, resources, and opportunities that can transform their lives. For people in need, a social service model can oftentimes be perceived as an impersonal transactional process. This type of service exchange often has people running all over town, agency to agency, trying to find help, but are often told, "I'm sorry, due to a lack of resources, we cannot help you today." This can be extremely frustrating for people with limited transportation and limited time that they can take off work. Another concern voiced by people in need that they are oftentimes served by agency staff and volunteers who are not properly trained in social service complexities, which require years of education and experience. People quickly realize that helping agencies may have sympathy for their needs, but they are limited in personal attention and hopeful advice. The reality is that most helping agencies, due to a lack of resources, are not able to provide long-term, tender loving care that most people need, especially those who have fallen on hard times and simply cannot get back up on their feet. Admittedly, a social service model can be quite efficient and reliable at providing programs and services that make a difference. However, this model can also be dysfunctional, where good intentions are simply not good enough. Perhaps helping agencies and the people they serve should both strive for a promising answer to a simple question: are we both completely satisfied with the results? A social change model breathes new life into a community's helping system by enabling helping agencies to work together more efficiently and effectively. I am reminded by leadership and management expert Peter Drucker, who said, "Efficiency is doing things right, whereas effectiveness is doing the right things." A social change model can build upon the efficiency of a social service model and take it to a whole new realm of effectiveness, one that is more flexible and adaptive to individuals' and families' complex and changing needs. Communities are learning that no one person, organization, or government agency has all the information, skills, or resources necessary to address complex community challenges, let alone develop effective, sustainable solutions. Many communities believe that now is the time for neighbors, churches, charities, businesses, elected officials, and others to come together to make sense of the changes that impact their community, better understand people's needs, and implement long-term solutions through collective action. Community leaders suggest that the way to move towards large-scale social change is for all community sectors to work together by engaging in strategic planning that supports innovation, invites broader civic participation, and allows collective community impact to emerge. A helping system that transforms into a social change model sets the stage for a more networked, collaborative, and comprehensive approach to transforming people's lives. Agencies, along with the people they serve, gain greater access to knowledge and resources from across the community that support social and economic well-being. Any agency, or collectively with others, can now work closely with individuals and families, helping them to map out a successful journey from crisis to sustainability to abundant living. This journey includes a holistic action plan with practical goals, learning opportunities, and resources that are tailored to each person's hopes and dreams. A person's ability to work the plan is measurable using our technology. All assistance, referrals, and outcomes are monitored in real time, making it easier for helping agencies to collectively track a person's progress towards sustainability. And if needed, agencies can suggest adjustments to the plan. A social change model offers communities the chance to make a real and lasting difference in people's lives. This approach does not believe in quick fixes or questionable promises. This model is driven by transformative processes that are deeply embedded with caregiving that is empowered by relationships and self-motivation. And with the help of innovative technology, these transformative processes can be constantly monitored for progress, accurately measured for success, and easily adjusted for effectiveness. Now everyone in your community has a real chance at living a healthier, happier, and a more meaningful life. Your care network will grow, and your care collaborative will develop in its own unique ways. This growth and development will always be subject to your community's demographics, culture, population, and more. Although every community is unique, there are still common transformative processes that should be in place to reach the summit in your explorations. These may be considered as milestones and checkpoints along the way. These are vital parts of successful planning and measurable outcomes. They also serve as short-term wins and times for needed evaluation. Milestones and checkpoints provide evidence that the sacrifices made were well worth the effort. They also help to fine-tune strategies and keep goals on track. They are great at undermining cynics and change resistors. Milestones and checkpoints help build momentum for the next steps in your transformation journey. Experts in change management suggest that as soon as possible, strive for visible successes that validate change and keep everyone inspired and motivated. Your initial care collaborative should orchestrate short-term wins that can be obtained within the first 6 months, like the launch and growth of your care network. This will prevent most people from becoming disillusioned or sidetracked with the process. Journal all progress and communicate short-term successes to all people involved. Publish progress reports so that people can see the results of transformation. Do not forget to plan periodic events that recognize and reward the contributions of community stakeholders. You will be wise to treat change as experiments in progress and growth, and not as do-or-die situations. Communicate these as new chapters in your community's development, and not as opportunities to tear out old pages in its significant history.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Many times the question will be posed, why won't this agency come on board and be part of the collaboration? Interestingly enough, many times the stakeholder doesn't see their contribution as being valuable or that they don't have anything to offer. Sometimes churches that don't provide a lot of resources will say this. They'll say, we don't provide a lot of help, so we may not really be able to make a lot of difference with our data. But please share this with them, that they may make a small ripple in the pond, so to speak, but their data combined with others' data, that can make huge waves. It really is like throwing a rock into a pond. One rock creates a ripple, but when you throw multiple rocks, that's multiple ripples and bigger waves. If you're really going to solve service gaps, reduce duplication of effort, get help to those that genuinely need it, it's fair to say you're going to need a lot of rocks. One of our best testimonials comes from our network in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They've engaged the faith-based sector. They've really brought those churches in to work within the collaboration there. It's a social service agency that is leading the way. They're the administrators of the network, but the faith-based organizations, if you're to have a successful collaboration in any community, bring in those faith-based organizations. They're an essential part to be able to capture their data, working together with others' data to really provide a true community collective impact. In step 8, create many pathways for many explorers to travel. We'll dive deeper into the importance of broader community engagement, which will increase your success in reaching the summit of your journey. Hey, thanks so much for taking time to explore this transformative knowledge. For more information about this training series, you can call us, area code 256-764-0633, or email joey@simonsolutions.com or mike@simonsolutions.com. We're honored that you are part of this transformative training experience.